Thanks, Max. I always try to keep myself muted at the beginning so I can say whatever, not say whatever I want, but like listen to stuff out loud or whatever without the mic picking it up. And then this one instance, I guess I just simply forgot. But what I said was, what a lovely way to start the stream with Max telling me he's crying. Good stuff. But yeah, end in the week. It's the weekend, it's a Sunday night, and I had so much fun the last time I streamed, and then I just didn't get around to, so much fun is that's a way to describe it. I took off my nails and it took 2 hours, and I did a face mask, but you know, I enjoy streaming, right? And I wanted to get back into it, but I was busy with real life stuff, and then right before this stream, I just put on some press-on nails, not the acrylics. So much easier, like so much better for your nails, and easier to take on and off. But yeah, that's where I'm at. And they're in this like weird purpley gray. But anyways, yeah, pretty epic. Anyways, I've got a few sour straws with me that I'm going to eat. And yeah, we're just gonna vibe. I thought I haven't done a reading stream in a little bit, so we can just read. And the cheese stream will be very, very soon. Too soon, if you ask me, but it's not up to me. I guess it is, but it's been over a week since the community challenge goal has been met. I might as well deliver. But yeah, we're gonna try some new music. Not the kind that we normally play. We've been playing like the same piano music. Good old cheese, yeah, I know. We've been playing the same piano music every time. But I was looking around, trying to figure out some other stuff that I could possibly play. And I found some. So I'm gonna post on Insta real quick. Just saying I'm live. Hi! Thank you so much for stopping by, big old guns. We're about to do some reading. I was just gonna post really quickly on my Instagram to let people know I'm live. That was a bad photo. Bear with me. Still bad. I don't care. But yeah, a lot of people are live right now. But that's fine. That just means I have some people I can raid or whatever at the end. But yeah, I appreciate you tuning in. I know that generally you'd be watching, I don't know how to actually say your username. Eric's Fizz? I'm not sure. Sapphire? I know generally you'd be watching Sapphire, so thank you for just stopping by and saying hello. But yeah. I feel like my live notification should be my face, so. Perfect. You pop in and out. Cool. Big ol' epic. I'm gonna. I love this song. Okay. Okay, perfect. Posting on the Insta. Nice. Okay, I'm ready. I am ready to start getting into it. Thank you for bearing with me. And now we shall begin. Let me pause this music, sadly. And we'll play this. You're gonna have to let me know how the volume is because I'm not quite sure. We'll switch over to the reading screen. There we go. And yeah, this is our setup now. Music is a little quiet. Okay. Sure. Okay. Cool. But yeah, I picked this because it's supposed to be a little oceany, and we're reading ocean stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna drink a little bit of water right before we get into it. For those of you who are not caught up, we're reading 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne. Specifically, we are reading the Project Gutenberg ebook, translated by Frederick Paul Walter. This is not, technically it's copyrighted, quote unquote, but it's for free use of everybody at no cost with almost no restrictions. You can read it out loud, whatever, as long as I just say that that's what's going on. So I shall. And when I post the VODs, I always include the link to this PDF on the YouTube. So yeah. Let me just scroll to exactly where we left off. And legal disclaimers are awesome. Yeah, right. But let me just go back to where we left off. And for anyone who's unaware, basically the main character is a professor who, from France, who went on this trip to try to find this giant narwhal that had been attacking ships. This takes place in the 1800s. And he's like the resident ocean expert, right? So he wanted to get in on this. And long story short, him, his servant, and this harpooner named Ned Land got thrown overboard, and they found out that this narwhal was actually a big submarine. And at this point in the book, the professor is now just getting to talk to the commander of this submarine that's called the Nautilus. Abolish copyright laws. I know nothing about copyright law, I'm gonna be honest. I have a lot of friends who are film and TV and audio people, and I just do my best to not stay out of it, but make sure I don't get in trouble. I hope I didn't just mess up my makeup right then, because I like smacked my lips. Okay, we're fine. I like smacked it off of this. Okay. Alrighty, here we go. You got copyrighted on YouTube for using pre-recorded music you could implement off the platform. Yeah, that'll happen. All of the music basically that I use in these streams, or not in these streams, but all this music that I use for live streams doesn't get me in trouble on Twitch, but it does get me copyrighted basically every single time on YouTube, which is fine. It's not like I'm having enough views on YouTube to make money from it anyway, so. Okay. Chapter 11. The Nautilus. Captain Nemo stood up. I followed him. Contrived at the rear of the dining room, a double door opened, and I entered a room whose dimensions equaled the one I had just left. It was a library. Tall, black rosewood bookcases, inlaid with copperwork, held on their wide shelves a large number of uniformly bound books. These furnishings followed the contours of the room, their lower parts leading to huge couches upholstered in maroon leather and curved for maximum comfort. Light, movable reading stands, which could be pushed away or pulled as near as desired, allowed books to be positioned on them for easy study. In the center stood a large table covered with pamphlets, along which some newspapers, long out of date, were visible. Electric light flooded this whole harmonious totality, falling from 4 frosted half-globes set in the scrollwork of the ceiling. I stared in genuine wonderment at this room, so ingeniously laid out, and I couldn't believe my eyes. Yo, this music, it's new music, it's creepy. This is creepy as this is creepy as hell. But I guess this whole vibe is slightly creepy, so, you know, we try new things. We try new things here. I digress. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm gonna skip ahead and see if there's anything less creepy. There we go. Yeah, this is probably better. Captain Nemo, I told my host, who had just stretched out on a couch. This is a library that would do credit to more than one continental palace, and I truly marvel to think it can go with you into the deepest seas. Where could one find a greater silence or solitude, Professor? Captain Nemo replied. Did your study at the museum afford you such a perfect retreat? No, sir, and I might add that it's quite a humble one next to yours. You own 6,000 or 7,000 volumes here. It'll fit when Moby Dick shows up. True! 12,000, Professor Aronnax. They're my sole remaining ties with dry land. But I was done with the shore the day my Nautilus submerged for the first time under the waters. That day I purchased my last volumes, my last pamphlets, my last newspapers, and ever since I've chosen to believe that humanity no longer thinks or writes. In any event, Professor, these books are at your disposal, and you may use them freely. I thanked Captain Nemo and approached the shelves of this library. Written in every language, books on science, ethics, and literature were there in abundance, but I didn't see a single work on economics. They seemed to be strictly banned on board. One odd detail. All these books were shelved indiscriminately without regard to the language in which they were written, and this jumble proved that the Nautilus's captain could read fluently whatever volumes he chanced to pick up. Among these books, I noticed masterpieces by the greats of ancient and modern times. In other words, all of humanity's finest achievements in history, poetry, fiction, and science, from Homer to Victor Hugo. But science, in particular, represented the major investment of this library. Books on mechanics, ballistics, hydrography, meteorology, geography, geology, etc., held a place there no less important than books on natural history, and I realized that they made up the captain's chief reading. There I saw the complete works of Humboldt, the complete Arago, as well as works by Foucault, Henry St. Clair Deville. This is just him listing people. Oh, this is what I gotta say. Jules Verne said no room for any business majors. No, because he doesn't like people, but this is also a good spot for me to say, a lot of this book, like an upsetting amount of this book, is just Jules Verne listing stuff. So bear with me if I decide to skip some of the boring lists. Plus the transactions of France's Academy of Sciences, bulletins from the various geographical societies, etc., and in a prime location, those 2 volumes on the great ocean depths that had perhaps earned me this comparatively charitable welcome from Captain Nemo. That means he wrote them. Among the works of Joseph Bertrand, his book entitled The Founders of Astronomy even gave me a definite date, and since I knew it had appeared in the course of 1865, I concluded that the fitting out of the Nautilus hadn't taken place before then. Accordingly, 3 years ago at the most, Captain Nemo had begun his underwater existence. Moreover, I hoped some books even more recent would permit me to pinpoint the date precisely, but I had plenty of time to look for them, and I didn't want to put off any longer our stroll through the wonders of the Nautilus. Sir, I told the captain, thank you for placing this library at my disposal. There are scientific treasures here, and I'll take advantage of them. Thank you so much for showing up, Ashlyn. Thank you. And for making me drink water. Hello. It's more important during these reading streams than any other time. Thank you so much, Ashlyn. You're the best. I swear to God, you're the best. I know I say it a lot, but like, sincerely, we need to like hop on a call together sometime. I really appreciate you. Here, I'll use my emotes as well. There we go. Alrighty. How are you? Oh, I'm good. I went to Target today and I bought the cheese that I will be eating during my community challenge stream, which I'm not too excited about, but the cheese has been purchased and it is a challenge that I set and we made it, so I will be eating it. Probably tomorrow or the day after. And yeah, I've been pretty good. I got my first shot of the vaccine on Friday. I know a lot of people have been getting it, and it's super exciting. Things are looking up. How's it been for you? But yeah, gosh, this I'm trying out new music, and this music is just so creepy. I'm gonna see if I can't access some other music that might be less scary. I guess scary is not the right word, but absolutely we should. You're doing stuffs at home. Good, good, good. Housekeeping or whatever. I have to do laundry, but I did not have time to do it when I got back to my room before the stream started, so. Hold up. There we go. I I enabled some, like, the two-factor authentication. I'm stupid. And so I'm trying to look at more music. I might have to look at ads. No, I won't. No, I won't. This is the music I normally use. What about this? Nope, we're going back to the music I normally use. Sorry, guys. Tried out new things. Didn't like the new things. We're back to normal. There we go. This calms me down. You got a new dress and necklace? Hey, that's awesome. I love new stuff. I just redid my nails. We're moving up. Always on the upward trend. Yeah, the music was nice. It was, yeah, it was scary is not the correct word, but yeah, it was. Yeah. But I like this stuff. This is just chill piano. It helps me get back in the 20,000 Leagues mood. But yeah. So right now, the professor is getting a tour of the Nautilus from Captain Nemo. Alrighty. Oh, hi Chico. Thank you so much for showing up. Or for stopping by. I need to stop saying showing up, because it's like, wow, you decided to show up. That's not what I mean. Thank you for stopping by. You followed your trend setting and did your nails. Followed my trend setting and did your nails on stream too. Hell yeah. I almost was like, oh, maybe I should put these on stream. And then I was like, nah, my last stream I subjected people to watching me try to pry off acrylics for 2 hours. Like, this is anything but calming. But yeah. But yeah, we're just doing reading today. It's chill. It's a Sunday night. What are we gonna do? School in the morning. Gross. And it was a rainy day today, and rainy days always get me in the mood to think about reading. So, can't stay for long. Yeah, maybe 11:22 a.m. Yeah, or not 11. I can read. I can read numbers. 12:22 a.m. We know this. We've been over this. But yeah, if you don't need to stay if you don't want to, especially if it's late like that. I feel like a stream of me reading might end up putting you to sleep. But I do appreciate you stopping by. I can't read, Max. We know I can't read. Monday's your free day? Heck yeah. I do not have any of the 5-day workday off when it comes to school. A lot of people don't have Friday classes, and I have Friday classes from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. for some reason. I know what the reason is. It's called being a science major, but, you know. Yeah, it's okay. Do you know what you're planning on studying? Might I add? I'm a little curious. You can't spell, I can't read. Max, we're a great combo. Biomedical sciences? Oh, yeah, that's a difficult one. One of my close friends is doing neurobiology, and I've already taken one bio class, and I have to take another, and I'm nervous about it because bio kids are kind of, like, crazy in the way where, like, they take school very, very seriously, and their classes tend to be more difficult, but it's like, it's definitely respectable. I have a lot of respect for people that do it. I'm in my opinion, easier science. But that's just because I like it, I guess. You don't take school that seriously, but it's tough. Yeah, I would agree. And I like bio as well. I enjoy the bio classes that I take. I just specifically study earth sciences, like sustainability, water, stuff like that. But yeah, less of the microbio stuff is always what loses me. Or chemistry, I'm horrible. I'm just bad at math. More afraid of chem and physics? Yeah, exactly. I had to take both in high school, and I have to take chemistry next semester as well. I'm taking bio and chem at the same time, so I'll probably die. I'm pretty sure I'm taking like 2 geology classes, a bio class, a chem class, and an anthropology class, just because I was like, still science. It's some type of science. Good. Then you will fit perfectly in at being a bio major if you love everything about it. Geology is cracked. Gosh, well, I'm basically almost a geology major. Like, I was environmental resources at my school, and now I'm sustainability, and I'm always taking geology classes. It's very interesting. Rocks is epic. Yes, I agree. You can't see, but maybe I'll show them off on stream. I have a bunch of rocks on my desk back there, just that I've collected through being in the department. It's not that I care about rocks that much necessarily, but just being in the department and around other people who care about rocks has put me in close proximity with a lot of rocks. So I tend to give them out to people that I like. I'll just be like, hey, I feel like you would really enjoy this rock. And then they're like, why did you give me this? And I'm like, yeah, you'll love it. And certain people love gems and think they have like healing powers and stuff. So if I give them like a piece of rose quartz, they get super excited, Rocks are really old, and that's interesting. Yes. I love it. Hold on. You've distracted me. I'm gonna go show... I'm gonna get one of my rocks. I'm gonna get my favorite rock, and I'm gonna show it. Just... 1 sec. Okay, so I have a lot of rocks that are more traditional fossils and a lot of rocks that are more traditionally pretty, but this one is my favorite one. I can't remember exactly how I got it, but it's a piece of flint, like just normal flint and steel type beat. There we go. And yeah, it's like, you can't really see it that well because my lighting is fucked. But like, I don't feel like dealing with this right now. But yeah, this is my favorite rock. It's white and chalky on like this side, and then it's like traditional flint colors, the gray black. And what's cool about flint, and I'm not sure a lot of people know about it, is that it's filled with fossils. Flint is made of organic matter and fossils. So it looks super sick. It's very smooth to the touch. Let me just think about how I want to show this best. Or how I can show this best. There we go. But yeah, this is my favorite rock. I have like pretty geodes and stuff like that, but I love the flint. I actually have a friend who wants my flint very badly, and I told her she can only have it when I die. So that's how much I enjoy this flint. Yeah, it's super smooth. Why are you trying to say I'm part penguin? What have I done? But yeah, I love it. So here's my favorite rock, and now it will sit next to me. You love flint? Yeah, I love it. It is very good flint. I have like, I think I... This sounds a little like rude. It's not rude. There was my first geology class I took freshman year. One of their colleagues died, and so they just brought in a bunch of his rocks and were like, here, does anyone want these? And so it's just like going through picking out stuff I wanted. And of course, like, the best stuff was not up for grabs, but yeah. You almost have enough points for something. That's ominous. It was sad. It's sad, but at the same time, if you're a type of scientist or the type of person where you are like a huge part of your science is gathering and keeping rocks like that, so much of geology is actually getting to physically feel and handle the rocks and get an idea for them. And so I really like the idea of, even though that person died, a lot of people, college students who are studying it, who for a lot of them these are their first experiences that they have with rocks and these types of like minerals or whatever. I think that it's really cool that his rocks got to go towards us, because even if someone who's been in the field for 20 years, it might just be just another piece of flint or whatever. For me, it's now my favorite rock, you know? But yeah, that's just my little 2 cents. Damn, this music. I love this music. Like, it makes what I'm saying sound so much more dramatic because there's a slow piano behind me. But I digress. This is a fun tangent, and I enjoy fun tangents. And I enjoy the flint, which will now sit next to me, but I will probably get back to reading now, just because I've dedicated? I've maybe that's not the right word. I've mentally prepared to do 3 chapters, so I gotta do it. I love bismuth. I just saw that you said that, Ashlyn, and I love bismuth. It's like, I've thought about buying it before just to have a piece, but it's like super, it's not that it's super expensive. I just don't feel like spending money. Let me look up a photo of bismuth and see if I can't. I'll just share on screen. Here. That's my school health screening questionnaire. Look it. It naturally looks like that. What the hell? What the hell? Damn. Anyway. Alright, bye Chico. Thank you so much for dropping by. Oh, and hello. Nice to see you, Kanar. I just saw that your ice cream Insta page just posted, so I should look. Hey besties. Hi Jesse. Oh, and I would be interested in acquiring some bismuth if you're offering. Let me see. Oh, I just noticed you basically what just got posted. Big Scoops NYC, Kinar's ice cream on Instagram, just posted, my husband and I ate both pints in the car before going home. It was so good, the kids got none of it. I love that. Good stuff, good stuff. So excited all your friends are here. Aw. It's like nature's rainbow cubic puzzle. Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna get back over to reading. I'll continue to talk to y'all and everything, but I gotta at least try a little bit. Just a little. Okay. Also, this is an insane sentence to start off reading at. This room isn't only a library, Captain Nemo said. It's also a smoking room. Getting right back into it. Gosh, I'm losing it. Anyway. A smoking room, I exclaimed. Then one may smoke on board? Surely. In that case, sir, I'm forced to believe you've kept up relations with Havana. None whatsoever, the captain replied. Try this cigar, Professor Aronnax, and even though it doesn't come from Havana, it will satisfy you if you're a connoisseur. Ah, he's trapped him. The professor has to say he likes it, otherwise he's not a connoisseur. I took the cigar offered me, whose shape recalled those from Cuba, but it seemed to be made of gold leaf. I lit it at a small brazier supported by an elegant bronze stand, and I inhaled my first whiffs with the relish of a smoker who hasn't had a puff in days. It's excellent, I replied, but it's not from the tobacco plant. Right, the captain replied. This tobacco comes from neither Havana nor the Orient. It's a kind of nicotine-rich seaweed that the ocean supplies me, albeit sparingly. Do you still miss your Cubans, sir? Captain, I scorn them from this day forward. Then smoke these cigars whenever you like, without debating their origin. They bear no government seal of approval, but I imagine they're none the worse for it. Ah, so they be making their own cigars. Just then, Captain Nemo opened a door facing the one by which I had entered the library, and I passed into an immense, splendidly lit lounge. It was a huge quadrilateral, with canted corners, 10 meters long, 6 wide, 5 high. A luminous ceiling, decorated with delicate arabesques, distributed a soft, clear daylight over all the wonders gathered in this museum. For a museum, it truly was. Hold on. There we go. In which clever hands had spared no expense to amass every natural and artistic treasure, displaying them with the helter-skelter picturesqueness that distinguishes a painter's studio. Wow. Some 30 pictures by the masters, uniformly framed and separated by gleaming panoplies of arms, adorned walls on which there were stretched tapestries of austere design. There I saw canvases of the highest value, the likes of which I had marveled at in private European collections and art exhibitions. These various schools of the old masters were represented by a Raphael Madonna, a Virgin by Leonardo da Vinci, a nymph by Correggio, a woman by Titian, and he's just listing again. If you guys know famous paintings, I'm sure. You'd get it. There we go. Some wonderful miniature statues in marble or bronze, modeled after an antiquity's finest originals, stood on their pedestals in the corners of this magnificent museum. As the Nautilus's commander had predicted, my mind was already starting to fall into that promised state of stunned amazement. "Professor," the strange man then said, "you must excuse the informality with which I receive you, and the disorder reigning this lounge." "Sir," I replied, "without prying into who you are, might I venture to identify you as an artist?" "A collector, sir, nothing more. Formerly, I loved acquiring these beautiful works created by the hand of man. I sought them greedily, ferreted them out tirelessly, and I have been able to gather some objects of great value. They're my last mementos of those shores that are now dead for me. In my eyes, your modern artists are already as old as the ancients. They've existed for 2,000 or 3,000 years, and I mix them up in my mind. The masters are ageless." "What about these composers?" I said, pointing to sheet music by Weber, Rossini, Mozart, Beethoven, oh my god, you know composers, and a number of others scattered over a full-size piano organ, which accompanied one of the wall panels in this lounge. "These composers," Captain Nemo answered me, "are the contemporaries of Orpheus, because, in the annals of the dead, all chronological differences fade. And I'm dead, Professor. Quite as dead as those friends of yours sleeping 6 feet under." Captain Nemo fell silent, and seemed lost. I regarded him with intense excitement, silently analyzing his strange facial expression. Leaning his elbow on the corner of a valuable mosaic table, he no longer saw me. He had forgotten my very presence. I didn't disturb his meditations, but continued to pass in review the curiosities that enriched this lounge. After the works of art, natural rarities predominated. They consisted chiefly of plants, shells, and other exhibits from the ocean that must have been Captain Nemo's own personal finds. In the middle of the lounge, a jet of water, electrically lit, fell back into a basin made from a single giant clam. The delicately festooned rim of this shell, supplied by the biggest mollusk in the class Acephala, measured about 6 meters in circumference. So it was even bigger than those giant fine clams given to King Francois I by the Republic of Venice, and by which the Church of Saint Sulpice in Paris has made into 2 gigantic holy water fonts. Around this basin, inside elegant glass cases fastened with copper bands, they were classified and labeled the most valuable marine exhibits ever put before the eyes of a naturalist. By professional glee may easily be imagined. I'm going to probably skip through this a little bit just because he goes on to basically talk about a bunch of different types of coral for a pretty long time, and what this is supposed to do, these paragraphs, is essentially establish the professor as being someone who's very knowledgeable, and also establish how impressive these collections that Captain Nemo has are. So just imagine he has every sea creature ever, and the professor is fangirling very hard. Aside and in special compartments, strings of supremely beautiful pearls were spread out, the electric light flecking them with little fiery sparks. Pink pearls pulled from saltwater fan shells in the Red Sea, green pearls from the rainbow abalone, yellow, blue, and black pearls, the unusual handiwork of various mollusks from every ocean and of certain mollusks from rivers up north. In short, several specimens of incalculable worth that had been oozed by the rarest of shellfish. Consequently, to calculate the value of this collection was, I should say, impossible. Captain Nemo must have spent millions in acquiring these different specimens, and I was wondering what financial resources he'd tapped to satisfy his collector's fancies when these words interrupted me. "You're examining my shells, Professor? They are indeed able to fascinate a naturalist, but for me they have an added charm, since I've collected every one of them with my own 2 hands, and not a sea on the globe has escaped my investigations." I am going to save this photo and add it to the screen so that you can see what I am looking at, but there's a photo included here. So 1 sec. There we go. Ta-da. Basically, it's just the boys chilling out. The boys chilling out, looking at specimens. You know how it be. More water. But yeah, this is what they're looking at right now. I will delete it now. Yes, I want to remove the image. Okay, there we go. Alright. "I understand, Captain. I understand your delight at strolling in the midst of this wealth. You're a man who gathers his treasure in person. No museum in Europe owns such a collection of exhibits from the ocean. But if I exhaust all my wonderment on them, I'll have nothing left for the ship that carries them. I have absolutely no wish to probe those secrets of yours, but I confess that my curiosity is aroused to the limit by this Nautilus. The motor power it contains, the equipment enabling it to operate, the ultra-powerful force that brings it to life. I see some instruments hanging on the walls of this lounge whose purposes are unknown to me. May I learn?" "Professor Aronnax," Captain Nemo answered me. "I'd said you'd be free aboard my vessel, so no part of the Nautilus is off limits to you. You may inspect it in detail, and I'll be delighted to act as your guide." I just noticed you redeemed hydrate. I will hydrate again. Once more. There we go. Thank you for that. Alrighty. There we go. "I don't know how to thank you, sir, but I won't abuse your good nature. I would only ask you about the uses intended for these instruments of physical measure. Professor, these same instruments are found in my stateroom, where I'll have the pleasure of explaining their functions to you. But beforehand, come inspect the cabin set aside for you. You need to learn how you'll be lodged aboard the Nautilus." I followed Captain Nemo, who, via one of the doors cut into the lounge's canted corners, led me back down to the ship's gangways. He took me to the bow, and there I found not just a cabin, but an elegant stateroom with a bed, a washstand, and various other furnishings. I could only thank my host. I just got so distracted by Jesse saying the girl on 90 Day Fiancé is giving birth. What? What? Jesse? What does that mean? Hello? Oh gosh. I just took psychic damage. Alrighty. I could only thank my host. "Your stateroom adjoins mine," he told me, opening a door, "and mine leads into that lounge we've just left." I entered the captain's stateroom. It had an austere, almost monastic appearance. An iron bedstead, a work table, some washstand fixtures, subdued lighting, no luxuries. Just the bare necessities. Captain Nemo showed me to a bench. "Kindly be seated," he told me. I sat, and he began speaking as follows. And that's the end of chapter 11. Which is good, because now my curiosity is piqued. Jesse, I know nothing about 90 Day Fiancé. Is this currently airing? Like, the show is the whatever you're talking about with the girl giving birth? This is an episode that just came out? Like, this is current news? Or did you learn about this via Twitter? Or... Also, did this woman go into 90 Day Fiancé pregnant? Or is this an older contestant who has since gotten pregnant and is giving birth? I'm interested and I would like to be updated. I've asked you many questions. Yes, it's today's episode. Gotcha. I literally know nothing about TV ever, so 90 Day Fiancé, let me guess. Fiancés for 90 days? No, I'm pretty sure the premise has been told to me before. Is it like 90 days because they're from a different country, right? She wasn't already pregnant. She was on this season, but she was the only one who got pregnant during her 90 days. Gotcha. Maybe I'll just watch like an episode of the show so that I can understand when people refer to it. I appreciate the rundown for me. But yeah, I will I guess read chapter 12, Everything Through Electricity. You're on season 3. How many seasons are there? I'm sorry. I'm trying to get into 20,000, but I'm like, "Oh, let's just talk about 90 Day Fiancé." And I'm like, "Cameron, your brain, there's nothing in your brain. It's empty space. It's cotton balls." Such a good show, but seems so illegal. It's illegal? What is this show? What the heck? There's 8 seasons. Whoa. People have only really started talking about it recently, I thought. When did it air? I'm yawning. It started in 2014. Gotcha. It's a visa thing. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, it's not rated too high on Google. It's rated 3.7 stars out of 5. And it started in 2014 to present. And it's a visa thing. Interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure how... Feels slightly scummy, but whatever. Interesting. Anybody was married at first sight? I knew what you meant, but I don't watch any TV, and you know this. I watch none TV. I read old book on stream. Jesse and Kanar, you two have the same taste. Like, I forget what it was, but during my, like, shaving my head stream, you guys were also agreeing about something, and now you're doing it again. So many men of taste. Damn. Y'all all get together. You're all mods, and you all have the same opinions. I didn't do this on purpose. You're gonna unionize. They'll take over. One day I'll boot up, the stream will start and people will tune in and it will just be you 3. Imagine reading. I know. Speaking of which, y'all can continue talking about TV shows in the chat. Feel free. I'm gonna try to just start reading chapter 12. Alright. Chapter 12. Everything through electricity. Sir, Captain Nemo said, showing me the instruments hanging on the walls of his stateroom. These are the devices needed to navigate the Nautilus. Here, as in the lounge, I always have them before my eyes, and they indicate my position and exact heading in the midst of the ocean. You're familiar with some of them, such as the thermometer, which gives the temperature inside the Nautilus, the barometer, which measures the heaviness of the outside air and forecasts changes in the weather, the humidistat, which indicates the degree of dryness in the atmosphere, the storm glass, whose mixture decomposes to foretell the arrival of tempests, the compass, which steers my course, the sextant, which takes the sun's altitude and tells me my latitude, chronometers, which allow me to calculate my longitude, and finally, spy glasses for both day and night, enabling me to scrutinize every point of the horizon once the Nautilus has risen to the surface of the waves. These are the normal navigational instruments, I replied, and I'm familiar with their uses. But no doubt these others answer pressing needs unique to the Nautilus. That dial I see there, with the needle moving across it, isn't that a pressure gauge? It is indeed a pressure gauge. It's placed in contact with the water, and it indicates the outside pressure on our hull, which in turn gives me the depth at which my submersible is sitting. And these are some new breed of sounding line? They're thermometric sounding lines that report water temperatures in the different strata. And these other instruments whose functions I can't even guess? Here, Professor, I need to give you some background information, so kindly hear me out, Captain Nemo said. He fell silent for some moments. Then he said, "There's a powerful, obedient, swift, and effortless force that can be bent to any use and which reigns supreme aboard my vessel. It does everything. It lights me, it warms me. It's the soul of my mechanical equipment. This force is electricity." "Electricity?" I exclaimed in some surprise. "Yes, sir." "But, Captain, you have a tremendous speed of movement that doesn't square with the strength of electricity. Until now, its dynamic potential has remained quite limited, capable of producing only small amounts of power." "Professor," Captain Nemo replied, "my electricity isn't the run-of-the-mill variety, and with your permission, I'll leave it at that." "I won't insist, sir, and I'll rest content with simply being flabbergasted at your results. I would ask one question, however, which you needn't answer if it's indiscreet. The electric cells you use to generate this marvelous force must be depleted very quickly. Their zinc component, for example. How do you replace it, since you no longer can stay in contact with the shore?" "That question deserves an answer," Captain Nemo replied. "First off, I'll mention that at the bottom of the sea there exists veins of zinc, iron, silver, and gold whose mining would quite certainly be feasible. But I've tapped none of these land-based metals, and I wanted to make demands only on the sea itself for the sources of my electricity." "The sea itself?" "Yes, Professor, and there was no shortage of such sources. In fact, by establishing a circuit between two wires immersed to different depths, I'd be able to obtain electricity through the diverging temperatures they experience. But I preferred to use a more practical procedure." "And that is?" "You're familiar with the composition of salt water. In 1,000 grams, one finds 96.5% water and about 2.66% sodium chloride, and then small quantities of magnesium chloride, potassium chloride, magnesium bromide, sulfate of magnesia, calcium sulfite, and calcium carbonate. Hence you observe that sodium chloride is encountered there in significant proportions. Now then, it's this sodium that I extract from the salt water and with which I compose my electric cells." "Sodium?" "Yes, sir. Mixed with mercury, it forms an amalgam that takes the place of zinc in Bunsen cells. The mercury is never depleted, only once the sodium is consumed, and the sea itself gives me that. Beyond this, I'll mention that sodium batteries have been found to generate the greater energy, and their electromotor strength is twice that of zinc batteries." Y'all, I'm not sure this is, actually sound science. I'm pretty sure he's just saying stuff. "Oh, the baby has been born. The 90-day fiancé baby has been born." Good stuff, good stuff. Are you guys trying to unionize? Oh no. Please no. You feel bad for making fun of Philip's demise? I don't feel bad for making fun of Prince Philip's demise. I know I'm saying that on live stream, but like, I don't. The baby has been born. Her name is Mila. That's a good name. I like it. It's cute. But yeah, just saying, I'm pretty sure the science did, like, not that I'm pretty sure. I know the science for what Jules Verne is describing in this did not exist when this book was being written. So when he's talking about science, he's like 100% just making stuff up. You did mention, I hope the queen outlives Charles. And what do you mean by the vampire prince, Ashlyn? I'm good. I just got tired. The queen will outlive me. Yeah, the queen has some horcruxes lying around. Can't die. Hey, bringing back Harry Potter. Alrighty. But yeah, they oh, here we go. I knew something would be, I was wondering when he was talking about science, I was like, this guy's probably gonna bring up, or sorry, not science, but electricity. I was like, I'm pretty sure the only way they knew how to generate electricity back then was through coal. So I don't know if he's gonna make the Nautilus coal dependent, and now we're about to get to that part. Captain, I fully understand the excellence of sodium under the conditions in which you're placed. The sea contains it, fine, but it still has to be produced, in short, extracted. And how do you accomplish this? Obviously your batteries could do the extracting, but if I'm not mistaken, the consumption of sodium needed by your electric equipment would be greater than the quantity you'd extract. It would come about, then, that in the process of producing your sodium, you'd use up more than you make. Accordingly, Professor, I don't extract it with batteries. Quite simply, I utilize heat of the coal from the earth. From the earth, I said, my voice going up on the word. We'll say coal from the seafloor, if you prefer, Captain Nemo replied. And you can mine these veins of underwater coal? You'll watch me work them, Professor Aronnax. I ask only a little patience of you, since you'll have ample time to be patient. Just remember one thing. I owe everything to the ocean. It generates electricity, and electricity gives the Nautilus heat, light, motion, and in a word, life itself. Cameron, tell me you will not be a teacher. You are destined for so much more. Mother, what brought this about? Did I say something? Did I say something? I appreciate it. But, huh? Hello? Also, oof. That's what I thought you meant, Ashen. I almost called you Ashen again. Ashen Ashlyn. The queen must die. Oh my goodness. You just finished a dreary fic where Voldy is Harry's father figure after Sirius dies. What? And Harry killed Peter and Bellatrix. What? Oh, you're reading to the public like a teacher. Are you saying that you don't enjoy my reading voice, Mother? I know you like reading, and you do it to your students. Let's just say I'm just like you. But yeah, I love this book. But yeah, they're talking about electricity, specifically coal, which is very funny to me. But yeah, love it, but you are destined for more. Don't worry about it. I appreciate it. I'm not planning on teaching. I'll be the Queen of England one day. You're better than me. Mom, are you? I appreciate it, and I love you. You're an awesome person, and from the sounds of it, one of the best teachers I've ever heard about, ever. I have nothing but respect for you. I want Mama Gallagher to make an audiobook for all the Harry Potter books. I've essentially heard it, because my mom used to read Harry Potter to me when I was younger, just a little bit. But mostly we had audiobooks. But Mom does great voices. I love it. But yeah. Every time I'm reading something with Professor Aronnax and Captain Nemo, I get very excited because Captain Nemo tends to, when he starts talking about the sea, get very poetic. But yeah. Here we go. The Captain Nemo just said the sea provides everything that I need. But not the air you breathe? Oh, I could produce the air needed on board, but it would be pointless, since I can rise to the surface of the sea whenever I like. However, even though electricity doesn't supply me with breathable air, it at least operates the powerful pumps that store it under pressure in special tanks, which, if need be, allows me to extend my stay in the lower strata for as long as I want. I feel like this is foreshadowing, but okay. Captain, I replied, I'll rest content with marveling. You've obviously found what all mankind will surely find one day, the true dynamic power of electricity. I'm not so certain they'll find it, Captain Nemo replied icily, but be that as it may, you're already familiar with the first use I found for this valuable force. It lights us, and with a uniformity and continuity not even possessed by sunlight. Now look at that clock. It's electric, and it runs with an accuracy rivaling the finest chronometers. I've had it divided into 24 hours like Italian clocks, since neither day nor night, sun nor moon, exist for me, but only this artificial light that I import into the depths of the seas. See, right now it's 10 o'clock in the morning. That's perfect. Another use for electricity. That dial hanging before our eyes indicates how fast the Nautilus is going. An electric wire puts it in contact with the patent log. This needle shows me the actual speed of my submersible. And, hold on, just now we're proceeding at the moderate pace of 15 miles per hour. That's marvelous, I replied. And truly, hold on, and I truly see, Captain, how right you are to use this force. It's sure to take the place of wind, water, and steam. But that's not all, Professor Aronnax, Captain Nemo said, standing up. And if you'd care to follow me, we'll inspect the Nautilus's stern. In essence, I was already familiar with the whole forward part of this underwater boat, and here are its exact subdivisions going from amidships to its spur. The dining room, 5 meters long and separated from the library by a watertight bulkhead. In other words, it couldn't be penetrated by the sea. The library, 5 meters long. The main lounge, 10 meters long, separated from the captain's stateroom by a second watertight bulkhead. The aforesaid stateroom, 5 meters long. Mine, 2.5 meters long. And finally, air tanks 7.5 meters long and extending to the stem post. Total, a length of 35 meters. How does he know this? Doors were cut into the watertight bulkheads and were shut hermetically by means of India rubber seals, which ensured complete safety aboard the Nautilus in the event of a leak in any one section. There we go. I followed Captain Nemo down gangways located for easy transit, and I arrived amidships. There I found a sort of shaft heading upward between two watertight bulkheads. An iron ladder, clamped to the wall, led to the shaft's upper end. I asked the I'm having a moment. I asked the captain what this ladder was for. It goes to the skiff, he replied. What? You have a skiff? I replied in some astonishment. Surely. An excellent longboat, light and unsinkable, which is used for excursions and fishing trips. But when you want to set out, don't you have to return to the surface of the sea? By no means. The skiff is attached to the top side of the Nautilus's hull and is set in a cavity expressly designed to receive it. It's completely decked over, absolutely watertight, and held solidly in place by bolts. This ladder leads to a manhole cut in the Nautilus's hull and corresponding to a comparable hole cut into the side of the skiff. I insert myself through this double opening into the longboat. My crew close up the hole belonging to the Nautilus. I close up the one belonging to the skiff, simply by screwing it into place. I undo the bolts holding the skiff to the submersible, and the longboat rises with the prodigious speed to the surface of the sea. I then open the deck paneling, carefully closed until that point. I upmast and hoist sail, or I take out my oars, and I go for a spin. But how do you return to the ship? I don't, Professor Aronnax. The Nautilus returns to me. At your command? At my command. An electric wire connects me to the ship. I fire off a telegram, and that's that. Right, I said, tipsy from all these wonders. Nothing to it. Hi Megan, I love you too. Thank you for saying I'm a lovely reader even though I was having some issues. And also, thank you Mom for gifting a sub to Megan. Megan, now you get to use my emotes. Nothing special, but I did make them myself. Aww. You're all so lovely. Mama Gallagher is amazing. Alrighty. Yeah, I love Crab Howdy. Little crab with little boots and a little hat. Just like me. It matches my little hat. After passing the well of the companionway that led to the platform, I saw a cabin 2 meters long in which Consul and Ned Land, enraptured with their meal, were busy devouring it to the last crumb. Then a door opened into the galley, 3 meters long and located between the vessel's huge storage lockers. There, even more powerful and obedient than gas, electricity did most of the cooking. Arriving under the stoves, wires transmitted to platinum griddles a heat that was distributed and sustained with perfect consistency. It also heated a distilling mechanism that, via evaporation, supplied excellent drinking water. Next to this galley was a bathroom conveniently laid out, with faucets supplying hot or cold water at will. After the galley came the crew's quarters, 5 meters long. But the door was closed and I couldn't see its accommodations, which might have told me the number of men it took to operate the Nautilus. At the far end stood a fourth watertight bulkhead, separating the crew's quarters from the engine room. A door opened, and I stood in the compartment where Captain Nemo, indisputably a world-class engineer, had set up his locomotive equipment. Brightly lit, the engine room measured at least 20 meters in length. It was divided by function into 2 parts. The first contained the cells for generating electricity, the second that mechanism transmitting movement to the propeller. Right off, I detected an odor permeating the department that was this is a Latin word. It means in a class by itself, but I don't know Latin and I'm not going to try to say it. Thank you, our author's note. Hey. Captain Nemo noticed the negative impression it made on me. That, he told me, hydrate. Yes, I shall hydrate. Why did you say train, Max? What's up? There we go. I got you, Jesse. I got you. I will hydrate. That, he told me, is a gaseous discharge caused by our use of sodium, but it's only a mild inconvenience. In any event, every morning we sanitize the ship by ventilating it in the open air. Train chain. Train. You guys can't do this. I'll have a moment. My brain will break. Okay? Meanwhile, I examined the Nautilus's engine with fascination easy to imagine. You observe, the Captain Nemo told me, that I use Bunsen cells. The latter, not Ruhmkorff cells. The latter would be ineffectual. One uses fewer Bunsen cells, but they're big and strong, and experience has proven their superiority. The electricity generated here makes its way to the stern, where electromagnets of huge size activate a special system of levers and gears that transmit movement to the propeller's shaft. The latter has a diameter of 6 meters, a pitch of 7.5 meters, and can do up to 120 revolutions per minute. And that gives you a speed of 50 miles per hour. There lay a mystery, but I didn't insist on exploring it. How could electricity work with such power? Where did this nearly unlimited energy originate? Was it the extraordinary voltage obtained from some new kind of induction coil? Could its transmission have been immeasurably increased by some unknown system of levers? This was the point I couldn't grasp. Captain Nemo, I said. I'll vouch for the results and try not to explain them. I've seen the Nautilus at work out in front of the Abraham Lincoln, and I know where I stand on its speed. But it isn't enough just to move. We have to see where we're going. We must be able to steer right or left, up or down. How do you reach the lower depths, where you meet an increasing resistance that's assessed in hundreds of atmospheres? How do you rise back to the surface of the ocean? Finally, how do you keep your ship at whatever level suits you? Am I indiscreet in asking you all these things? Not at all, Professor, the captain answered me after a slight hesitation. Since you'll never leave this underwater boat. Come into the lounge. It's actually our workroom, and there you'll learn the full story of the Nautilus. Okay, guys, I'm going to do a very quick BRB because I don't know if you noticed, I've been yawning a lot, and I've decided that I need coffee. And I have my Keurig right there, but it's really loud. So, yeah. This shouldn't take too long. I will send a free paperback of this book to the first 2 people to donate to Cam. Mom, I did not ask you to do that. For legal reasons, I'm not sure. Whatever. It's up to you if you want to do that. I know you have free paperbacks, like, actually. I also have 2 free paperbacks, thanks to you. But, we're okay. I appreciate it, Mom. But yeah, I'm gonna get some coffee, and I'll be right back. Let me switch to my BRB screen. And let me switch to some music that is not copyright. Oh my gosh, Jesse donated $1. I'm not embarrassed, Mom. I just wasn't sure if anyone would donate, but Jesse just gave me $1, so you have to give Jesse a free copy of the book. But yeah, I'll be back. Here we go.
Cup of lean, ain't my cup of tea. Whipping in the foreign, can't you see my dash mahogany? Glad my diamonds got some rubies, it's a harmony. I'm trying to flex on all y'all, but I wonder what it's costing me. 1 year, 1 chain, 40 40K. 1 year, 30 shows, all this foreign pay. 1 year, big plays, just another day. 1 year, 6 digits, save it all the way, babe. I'm never ever bored, cause my mind on them boredoms. I'm already on that Wi-Fi shit, your ass is cordy. Yeah, new cities, 10 shows, new hoes, old clothes. Wonder if I had a key, I've never seen a door close. I gotta start investing this money. Adding all these zeros, this how I study. Yeah, I'm married to the guala and I'm glad her eyes green. I really like my coffee, I ain't wasting no cream. Yeah, babe, cup of lean, ain't my cup of tea. Whipping in the foreign, can't you see my dash mahogany? Glad my diamonds got some rubies, it's a harmony. I'm trying to flex on all y'all, but I wonder what it's costing me. 1 year, 1 chain, 40 40K. 1 year, 30 shows, all this foreign pay. 1 year, big plays, just another day. 1 year, 6 digits, save it all the way, babe. Ay, check me whipping it, I'm drifting it. She tryna take my money, never giving it. I'm dunking on your bitch, I Scotty pippin' it. I'm living it, the life of lavishness. I'm moving to the bag, I'm looking like a strategist. 33.5 in a date for some merch. 60-45 from a show, I need a purse. 2025 on the top of Google search. 365 another year, watch me work. Yeah, babe, cup of lean, ain't my cup of tea. Whipping in the foreign, can't you see my dash mahogany? Glad my diamonds got some rubies, it's a harmony. I'm trying to flex on all y'all, but I wonder what it's costing me. 1 year, 1 chain, 40 40K. 1 year, 30 shows, all this foreign pay. 1 year, big plays, just another day. 1 year, 6 digits, save it all the way, babe.
Look, I'm not Jordan, I'm no Pippin, I'm like Rodman on the Pistons. I doubt that I'll make a difference. All I want is some attention. You don't listen, I don't question. I'm not here to teach a lesson. I'm not ever here at all. You hear a beep, you leave a message. Fuck a topic, interesting shit I thought make you upset. Then you can jump right off a ledge, cause I'm not fucking with your presence. I'm encompassing the present while I point in no direction. And annoyed by every dot being deployed, am I prevented? I can't pretend it's fun, feeling fine. I've never seen the fucking sun. How come I want to get shot? I
ass in my back, but shit, I've never had the dirt to fill this hole in my soul. Is what you wanted from the first glance. Watercolor first dance, tapping glass slippers with a golden brush. Mr. lines what I had colored in. Paint splattered covering, faded to gray. My smile is paper mache. It's what you wanted. I'm chipping granite like I'm from a different planet. You see me winning, all my ticks are 3D printed, but I'm Paul Bunyan axed up with a clear ox. Laugh at my jokes backed up from my Xerox. Non-functional to
Alrighty guys, I am back. Hello, I have my coffee. Same mug as last time, because it's very adorable. But yeah, I love this song. Let's just wait till it ends and then I'll go back into reading and that type of thing. But yeah, Jesse, congrats. I hope you enjoy your copy of 20,000 Leagues. That was a surprise. I did not know my mom would be doing that, but I appreciate it. There we go. Good timing. Perfect. And now we switch back over to piano. Different vibe, different vibe. But yeah, I now have coffee with me so that I don't fall asleep while I read. But it needs to cool down a bit, so. Alrighty. We're moving on now to chapter 13, Some Figures. How much did I say? Let me just check one thing really quick. Okay. I said I was reading 11 through 14 because I can't do math when I post it on Insta. So what we're gonna do is we're going to read chapter 13, and then judging on how I feel, we will also read chapter 14. How does that sound? I appreciate anyone sticking through for these chapters because unlike the first ones where it's kind of like building up, this is now very big world building / information dump chapters where they're just trying to get across essentially what the Nautilus is. Jules Verne is trying to explain it to us, the audience. So yeah. Let me take this off. I don't need these I don't need to hear the music. I'll just vibe. Sit in my room in absolute silence and read. So yeah. Chapter 13. Some Figures. A moment later, we were seated on a couch in the lounge, cigars between our lips. The captain placed before my eyes a working drawing that gave the ground plan, cross-section, and side view of the Nautilus. Then he began his description as follows. Here, Professor Aronnax, are the different dimensions of this boat. Oh my god, Max! Max, thank you so much for the bits. I appreciate you. And, yeah, let me check with my mom and see that she gives you. Now you and Jesse are gonna have matching copies of 20,000 Leagues. You guys really are the best. You're too much. Okay, yeah, I texted my mom, but she saw. Yeah, thank you. You guys rule. I have 2 more copies that I might, do you want to wait till Cam gets home to sign them? No, they don't need a signed Cameron Gallagher copy of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Oh gosh. I can't. If you ever want me to sign them, because I know both of you in real life, I'll just stop by your houses. Yeah, you guys are besties. Twinning besties. Let me just... Here we go. Alright, perfect. Yeah, okay, cool. Sorry, the Roomba took your phone. Nah, I'm happy you're here. Yeah, Mom, you should sign the copies. You should sign the copies. I just love that you show up and the first thing you say is penis. That's a good precedent. The Roomba took your phone and it typed penis. Likely story. You just missed, Anna. My mom popped into my chat and said, I'll give 2 copies of 20,000 Leagues to whoever donates. And so 2 people donated, so now they both get free copies. Well, they're both of my mods, actually, Jesse and Max. But yeah. Alrighty. Oof. Right now, in the story where we're at, they're describing literally the title of the chapter is Some Figures, so you can basically guess that this chapter is basically just numbers. Alrighty, let's look. Oh wait, that 1 cup of coffee just hit so hard, like that 1 sip, I mean. 1 more. Wonderful. Okay. I'm good. Max and Jesse, Jesse and Max. Yes, yes, yes. Alrighty. Okay. Here, Professor Aronnax, are the different dimensions of this boat now transporting you. It's a very long cylinder with conical ends. It noticeably takes the shape of a cigar, its shape already adopted in London for several projects of the same kind. The length of this cylinder from end to end is exactly 70 meters, and its maximum breadth of beam is 8 meters. So it isn't quite built on the 10-to-1 ratio of your high-speed steamers, but its lines are sufficiently long and they're tapering gradual enough so that the displaced water easily slips past and poses no obstacle to the ship's movements. Also, let me just say, this is not related to the book, but I just realized it. Thank you so much for donating. You guys rule. I lost a nail at some point, and I don't know where that went, so... Worst case scenario, it's in my coffee. Hope that's not the case. Oh no, oh gosh, nail gone. Let's choose not to worry about that. I found it. Let's not worry about that. What I was going to say, I digress, is, I was just gonna say, I do have a, page, or a little panel in my about, where, like, people, if you want to contribute to the channel, we have the subs, which obviously people have been doing a little bit this stream, which I really appreciate. We have the bits, cheering, which you just saw, Max and Jesse, courtesy of Max and Jesse. And then we also have donation, like, direct donation set up through Streamlabs, where you still have to, I believe, sign in using your Twitch account, but if you donate that way, more of the proceeds go directly to me, and you still get a little thing up on screen. So I'm just letting people know that wasn't working for me for a bit, but now it is working. So by no means anyone has to give money. I appreciate it, but you don't need to. I still appreciate you just being here and watching. Okay, and let's transition over to what Jesse just said, which is when is Cam eating cheese? This is as good a time as any to say that the cheese stream is actually going to be tomorrow. I'm going to be doing my cheese stream tomorrow. I have bought the cheese. I have it in my fridge right now. I am less than enthused, but I was talking with Chloe about what type of cheese I should get, and she told me that if I like Cheez-Its, there's a chance that I would like cheddar. So we got some mild cheddar cheese that's sitting in my fridge, and I will be eating it tomorrow. So yeah, we have, we don't have an exact idea about how that's gonna go down, and by we, I mean I, where, it probably just won't be me sitting here eating cheese, because that's no fun. So what I'm thinking is that I could, connect it to some game, where every time I lose I eat cheese, or something like that. If you have any ideas, let me know. You are the big cheese, Max, I agree. That's so strange. But yeah, I have some stuff written down. Like, I could try to, hit, like, a certain score in a certain game, and if I don't, I have to eat cheese, or whatever. Amogus cheese stream. Gosh, I'm so bad at Amogus. Does that just mean every round I lose, I'd have to eat cheese or something? I would cry. Whatever, we'll talk about this. We'll figure this out. But the cheese stream is going to be tomorrow, long awaited, because I would like to do it as soon as possible. But yeah, that's what I was thinking, Jesse. Snake cheese stream. I like have to beat a certain score in Snake, and if I don't, I have to eat cheese. Either way, I'm resigning myself to having to eat cheese. Okay, I bought a whole bag, and the reason I ended up buying shredded cheese, and the reason I did that is because I'm not going to eat all of the cheese in one sitting, and I was trying to figure out the best way to be able to pawn it off on other people at the end of the stream, and so I was like, either I buy a block of cheese and then I try to convince people to take a block of cheese off of me that I've partially cut into, or I just leave it be. And I say, hey, I have a little bit of shredded cheese that you guys can take. Just a bag of shredded cheese. So that's probably what we're gonna end up doing. Did that make any sense? I feel like it'd be easier to pawn off shredded cheese on someone than a block of cheese. Whoever donates gets the cheese shipped to them. Oh, that's so gross. I can't ship cheese. Huh. You could do it though, where I'd be like, I eat cheese whenever the challenge happens, but also if someone donates, I have to eat cheese. That seems fair. Because I don't want to eat the cheese, but I will eat the cheese for the stream challenge, you know. But if someone chooses to donate me money during that stream, I will eat more cheese. How about that? Sounds fair to me. Alrighty. Now I'm more excited, because if I'm eating cheese, at least I might be getting compensated for it. I'm such a baby. Alrighty. Hold on one sec. There we go. These two dimensions allow you to obtain, via a simple calculation, the surface area and volume of the Nautilus. Its surface area totals 1,011.45 square meters. Its volume 1,507.2 cubic meters, which is tantamount to saying that when it's completely submerged, it displaces 1,500 cubic meters of water, or weighs 1,500 metric tons. In drawing up plans for a ship meant to navigate underwater, I wanted it, when floating on the waves, to lie 9/10 below the surface and to emerge only 1/10, like an iceberg. Consequently, under these conditions, it needed to displace only 9/10 of its volume, hence 1,365.48 cubic meters. In other words, it was to weigh only that same number of metric tons. So I was obliged not to exceed this weight while building it to the aforesaid dimensions. The Nautilus is made up of two hulls, one inside the other. Between them, joining them together, are iron T-bars that gives the ship the utmost rigidity. Oh, I just got a notification that my mom has only 9% phone battery. Mom, if you're watching on your phone, you better plug it in. In fact, thanks to this cellular arrangement, it has the resistance of a stone block, as if it were completely solid. Its plating can't give way. It's self-adhering and not dependent on the tightness of its rivets, and due to the perfect union of its materials, the solidarity of its construction allows it to defy the most violent seas. There we go. The two hulls are manufactured from boilerplate steel, whose relative density is 7.8 times that of water. The first hull has a thickness of no less than 5 centimeters and weighs 394.96 metric tons. Is the space between the hulls stuffed with shredded cheese? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure they actually just said that it was iron T-bars. Why are there 20,000 leagues and why are they under the sea? I'm pretty sure, and correct me if I'm wrong. Well, you guys wouldn't know. I'm fairly sure that it has its name. I'm looking it up just so I don't say it wrong. Why is it called 20,000 Leagues? See, the title refers to the distance traveled under the various seas and not to any depth obtained. So that's what I thought. 20,000 Leagues, it's called that because while aboard the Nautilus, Professor Aronnax and Consul and Ned Land end up traveling 20,000 leagues total while on the Nautilus, which is, I believe, twice the circumference of the Earth or something like that. So yeah. I think I'm right. Anyway, it's over the circumference of the Earth. Anyways, I got distracted. I was Googling miles and I was doing conversions in my head, and that's no fun for anybody, so I'm going back to the book. Haha. So basically the captain was just saying, this is how much it weighs, and this is how much, like, this is why my calculations I was just mentioning make sense. Clear? Clear, I replied. So, the captain went on. When the Nautilus lies on the waves under these conditions, 1/10 of it does emerge above the water. Now then, if I provide some ballast tanks equal in capacity to that 1/10, hence able to hold 150.72 metric tons, and if I fill them with water, the boat then displaces 1,507.2 metric tons, or it weighs that much, and it would be completely submerged. That's what comes about, Professor. These ballast tanks exist within easy access to the lower reaches of the Nautilus. I open up some stopcocks, the tanks fill, the boat sinks, and it's exactly flush with the surface of the water. Fine, Captain, but now we come to a genuine difficulty. You're able to lie flush with the surface of the ocean, that I understand. But lower down, while diving beneath that surface, isn't your submersible going to encounter a pressure and consequently undergo an upward thrust that must be assessed at 1 atmosphere per every 30 feet of water, hence about 1 kilogram per each square centimeter? Precisely, sir. Then unless you fill up the whole Nautilus, I don't see how you can force it down into the heart of these liquid masses. Professor, Captain Nemo replied. 20,000 leagues is that many miles. 69,000. Hey! You've distracted me. How dare you? That's correct though, right? That's like actual math. Like, I can't tell if you're... Or wait, no, because I'm pretty sure 20,000 nautical leagues actually comes to 69,000 miles. Like, actually. I'm gonna cry. Wait, so you're telling me that this book could actually, instead of 20,000 leagues under the sea, they could have called it 69,000 miles? Guys, remind me that the next time I stream this, I'll just title it Reading 69,000 Leagues Under the Sea. You Googled it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right. Alright. I'm actually kind of curious as to the science behind this, even if it's fake, so. Professor, Captain Nemo replied, static objects mustn't be confused with dynamic ones, or will be open to serious error. Comparatively little effort is spent in reaching the ocean's lower regions, because all objects have a tendency to become sinkers. Follow my logic here. I'm all ears, Captain. When I wanted to determine what increase in weight the Nautilus needed to be given in order to submerge, I had only to take note of the proportionate reduction in volume that salt water experiences in deeper and deeper strata. I don't know, Jesse. According to this logic, are you sure you Googled the correct thing? Because what I'm seeing right here says otherwise. Here. A lot of people call it 2,000 leagues on accident, so make sure you put in 20,000. Also, I will feel I'm pretty sure I'm correct. 69 is a funny number, Max. I do agree. Let me... one sec. My Streamlabs is being strange. In image, add image. It started not putting them in order. I don't know what I did wrong, and it makes finding what I'm looking for miserable. Like screenshots in particular. And by it, I do mean my computer. There we go. Yes. See, I pulled up my receipts. My receipts. I know you got there eventually, but maybe I should just call it reading. There we go. I'm sorry, that was a bad joke. There we go. My computer just got mad at me again. Don't worry about it. Alright, let's get back to 69,000 miles under the sea. That's obvious, I replied. Now then, if water isn't absolutely incompressible, at least it compresses very little. In fact, according to most recent calculations, this reduction is only 0.0000436 per atmosphere, or per every 30 feet of depth. For instance, to go 1,000 meters down, I must take into account the reduction in volume that occurs under a pressure equivalent to that from a 1,000 meter column of water. In other words, under a pressure of 100 atmospheres. In this instance, the reduction would be 0.00436. Consequently, I'd have to increase my weight, so the added weight would only be 6.57 metric tons. That's all? That's all, Professor Aronnax, and the calculation is easy to check. Now then, I have supplementary ballast tanks capable of shipping 100 metric tons of water, so I can descend to a considerable depth. When I want to rise again and lie flush with the surface, all I have to do is expel that water. And if I desire that the Nautilus emerge above the waves to 1/10 of its total capacity, I empty all the ballast tanks completely. This logic, backed up by figures, left me without a single objection. I accept your calculations, Captain, I replied, and I'd be ill-mannered to dispute them, since your daily experience bears them out. But at this juncture, I have a hunch that we're still left with one real difficulty. What's that, sir? When you're at a depth of 1,000 meters, the Nautilus plating bears a pressure of 100 atmospheres. If at this point you want to empty the supplementary ballast tanks in order to lighten your boat and rise to the surface, your pumps must overcome that pressure of 1,000 atmospheres. This demands a strength that electricity alone can give me, Captain Nemo said swiftly. Sir, I repeat, the dynamic power of my engines is nearly infinite. The Nautilus's pumps have prodigious strength, as you must have noticed when their waterspouts swept like a torrent over the Abraham Lincoln. Besides, I use my supplementary ballast tanks only to reach an average depth of 1,500 to 2,000 meters, and that with a view to conserving my machinery. Accordingly, when I have mind to visit the ocean depths 2 or 3 vertical leagues beneath the surface, I use maneuvers that are more time-consuming but no less infallible. What are they, Captain? I asked. Here I am naturally led into telling you how the Nautilus is maneuvered. I can't wait to find out. In order to steer this boat to port or starboard, in short, to make turns on a horizontal plane, I use an ordinary wide-bladed rudder that's fastened to the rear of the stern post and worked by a wheel and tackle. But I can also move the Nautilus upward and downward on a vertical plane by the simple method of slanting its 2 fins, which are attached to its sides at its center of flotation. These fins are flexible, able to assume any position, and can be operated from inside by means of powerful levers. If these fins stay parallel with the boat, the latter moves horizontally. If they slant, the Nautilus flows the angle of that slant and, under its propeller's thrust, either sinks on a diagonal as steep as it suits me or rises on that diagonal. And similarly, if I want to return more swiftly to the surface, I throw the propeller in gear and the water pressure makes the Nautilus rise vertically, as an air balloon inflated with hydrogen lifts swiftly to the skies. Can I just say, reading this as a child made me so hyper aware of what the Nautilus looked like and how it supposedly operates that one time I went to an escape room with my family that was 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea themed, and they showed a diagram of the Nautilus, and I remember pointing to it and being like, what's that supposed to be? And they were like not to the model itself, although that would have been quite the burn. But I pointed to the part that you could use to exit to get back, like to get into the water if you wanted to do some like scuba diving. And I was like, what's that? And they were like, oh, this is how they open to get out. And I was like, that's not how it works. It's a series of decontamination, or of like depressurization and like cleaning tanks. And they just looked at me, a 13-year-old or something, and were like, why are you coming into this escape room and telling us what the Nautilus looks like? Stop it. We are the people in charge. And I just remember being like, alright. I'm eating cheese, Kanar. Not currently, but I will be eating cheese. Did you just... What made you come to this conclusion just now? Oh, messages about cheese. That's what it was. Yes, tomorrow I shall be eating cheese. I'm not excited, but I am excited to deliver on the challenge. That emote did not translate to my computer for some reason. I got it on my phone, but yeah, I will be eating cheese. I am not backing out. It's been over a week since you hit it. I can't back out. But I will be eating the cheese, so yes, do not worry about that. It will be tomorrow. I only have one class on Mondays, so it's very easy for me to schedule streams on Mondays. But yeah, your 5,000 points will not go to waste. What are you using them on? Another community challenge? Oh wait, that's what you spent. I thought you were saying you'd managed to save up 5,000 more points, and I was like, damn. But alright. Now they're gonna talk about, they're talking about navigating still, the Nautilus. Also, if you donated that much, I'm pretty sure that means you donated like 1/4 of the points needed, which is insane. Y'all are crazy. I'll have to keep that in mind when I'm doing community challenges going forward. Alrighty. Bravo, Captain, I exclaimed. But in the midst of the waters, how can your helmsman follow the course you've given him? My helmsman is stationed behind the windows of a pilot house, which protrudes from the top side of the Nautilus's hull and is fitted with biconvex glass. Is glass capable of resisting such pressures? Perfectly capable. Though fragile on impact, crystal can still offer considerable resistance. In 1864, during experiments on fishing by electric light in the middle of the North Sea, glass planes less than 7 millimeters thick were seen to resist a pressure of 16 atmospheres, all the while letting through strong heat-generating waves whose warmth was unevenly distributed. Now then, I use glass windows measuring no less than 21 centimeters at their centers. In other words, they've 30 times the thickness. Fair enough, Captain, but if we're going to sea, we need light to drive away the dark. And in the midst of the murky waters, I wonder how your helmsman can... Set astern of the pilot house is a powerful electric reflector whose rays light up the sea for a distance of half a mile. Oh, bravo! Bravo 3 times over, Captain! That explains this guy's a nerd. That explains the phosphorescent glow from this so-called narwhal that so puzzled us scientists. Pertinent to this, I'll ask you if the Nautilus running afoul of the Scotia, which caused such a great uproar, was the result of an accidental encounter? Entirely accidental, sir. I was navigating 2 meters beneath the surface of the water when the collision occurred. However, I could see that it had no dire consequences. None, sir. But as for your encounter with the Abraham Lincoln... Professor, that troubled me, because it's one of the best ships in the gallant American Navy, but they attacked me and I had to defend myself. All the same, I was content simply to put the frigate into a condition where it could do me no harm. It won't have any difficulty getting repairs at the nearest port. Oh, Commander, I replied with conviction, your Nautilus is truly a marvelous boat. Oh, nice mug. Thank you. I enjoy this mug. I got it from not a thrift store. I got it from a Marshall's, I believe. There's a lie detector test on 90 Day Fiancé. Why are they doing this? Also, I love that my mom just said with a heart. I love you, Mom. You're wonderful. Okay. Yes, Professor, Captain Nemo replied with genuine excitement, and I love it as if it were my own flesh and blood. Aboard a conventional ship, facing the ocean's perils, danger lurks everywhere. On the surface of the sea, your chief sensation is the constant feeling of an underlying chasm, as the Dutchman Jansen so abruptly put it. But below the waves aboard the Nautilus, your heart never fails you. There are no structural deformities to worry about, because the double hull of this boat has the rigidity of iron. No rigging to be worn out by rolling and pitching on the waves, no sails for the wind to carry off, no boilers for steam to burst open, no fires to fear because the submersible is made of sheet iron and not wood, no coal to run out of since electricity is its mechanical force, no collisions to fear because it navigates in a watery deep all by itself, no storms to brave because just a few meters beneath the waves it finds absolute tranquility. There, sir, there is the ideal ship. And if it's true that the engineer has more confidence in a craft than the builder, and the builder has more than the captain himself, you can understand the utter abandon with which I place my trust in this Nautilus, since I am its captain, builder, and engineer all in one. Captain Nemo spoke with winning eloquence. The fire in his eyes and the passion in his gestures transfigured him. Yes, he loved this ship in the same way a father loves his child. It's a tell-all season finale. That sounds fun. Hey. Sorry, just got distracted again by 90 Day Fiancé. Nothing has distracted me more than 90 Day Fiancé thus far. one sec, I'll sip. But one question, perhaps indiscreet, naturally popped up, and I couldn't resist asking it. You're an engineer then, Captain Nemo? Yes, Professor, he answered me. I studied in London, Paris, and New York back in the days when I was a resident of the Earth's continents. But how are you to build this wonderful Nautilus in secret? Each part of it, Professor Aronnax, came from a different spot on the globe and reached me at a cover address. Its keel was forged by Creusot in France, its propeller shaft by Penn & Co. in London. Penn & Company, aye. The sheet iron plates for its hull by Laird's in Liverpool, its propeller by Scott's in Glasgow. Its tanks were manufactured by Cale & Company in Paris, its engine by Krupp in Persia. Its spur by the Motala workshops in Sweden, its precision instruments by Hart Bros in New York, etc. And each of these suppliers received my specifications under a different name. I hate to compare it to this, but this is slightly comparable to how during the Chicago World Fair, that one serial killer made that murder hotel, where he was like, he had different people helping to build it, and he like would fire people before they got too like curious about what was going on. It was H.H. Holmes. I remember him. He's from New Hampshire. I had to read a book on him. But yeah, he basically would hire people to build little parts of his hotel and then fire them before they could like put together what he was doing, because he was essentially just building a hotel that was perfectly capable of murdering people. Anyways, Captain Nemo, at least he's not murdering people with this boat. Ha ha ha. H.H. Holmes, yes. Alrighty. But, I went on, once these parts were manufactured, didn't they have to be mounted and adjusted? Professor, I set up my workshops on a deserted islet in mid-ocean. There, our Nautilus was completed by me and my workmen. In other words, by my gallant companions, whom I've molded and educated. Then, when the operation was over, we burned every trace of our stay on that islet, which, if I could have, I'd have blown up. From all of this, may I assume that such a boat costs a fortune? An iron ship, Professor Aronnax, runs 1,125 francs per metric ton. Now then, the Nautilus has a burden of 1,500 metric tons. Consequently, it cost 1,687,000 francs, hence 2 million francs according its accommodations, and 4 million to 5 million with all of the collections and works of art it contains. One last question, Captain Nemo. Ask, Professor. You're rich, then? Infinitely rich, sir, and without any trouble I could pay off the 10 billion French national debt. I gasped at the bizarre individual who had just spoken these words. Was he playing on me? Or was he playing on my credulity? Time would tell. Alrighty, that's chapter 13 in the books. Wonderful. I wish Twitch had some component where I could tell how many channel points you guys had saved up. I feel like it would be easier then for me to like put together exactly how much I should make challenges like the cheese one cost. Alrighty. Sorry, I got distracted. I was looking through the chat stuff. Okay, well, I wasn't sure how I would feel getting to this point. 3 chapters down. I wasn't sure if I'd be down to read chapter 14, but now that I have a cup of coffee, I feel like I can do it, and then I will end. Because I do plan on streaming tomorrow, so. But yeah, let's just do this one last chapter. And then we will be off for the night. I will send you off to somebody else. And you can watch them. But yeah. Alrighty. I just accidentally went to the wrong tab. Here we go. Perfect. Alrighty, let's see. Chapter 14. The Black Current. The part of the planet Earth that the seas occupy has been assessed at 3,832,558 square millimeters, hence more than 38 billion hectares. This liquid mass totals 2,250,000,000 cubic miles and could form a sphere with a diameter of 60 leagues, whose weight would be 3 quintillion metric tons. To appreciate such a number, we should remember that a quintillion is to a billion what a billion is to 1. In other words, there are as many billions in a quintillion as ones in a billion. Now then, this liquid mass nearly equals the total amount of water that is poured through all of Earth's rivers for the past 40,000 years. During prehistoric times, an era of fire was followed by an era of water. At first, there was ocean everywhere. Then, during the Silurian period, the tops of mountains gradually appeared above the waves. Islands emerged, disappeared beneath temporary floods, rose again, were fused to form continents, and finally the Earth's geography settled into what we have today. Solid matter had wrestled from liquid matter some 37,657,000 square miles, hence to 12,916,000,000 hectares. That was so many numbers. Jesus Christ. Okay. The outlines of the continents allow the seas to be divided into 5 major parts: the frozen Arctic and Antarctic Oceans, the Indian Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, and the Pacific Ocean. The Pacific Ocean extends north to south between the 2 polar circles and east to west between America and Asia over an expanse of 145 degrees of longitude. It's the most tranquil of the seas. Its currents are wide and slow-moving, its tides moderate, its rainfall abundant. And this was the ocean that I was first destined to cross under these strangest of auspices. "If you don't mind, Professor," Captain Nemo told me, "we'll determine our exact position and fix the starting point of our voyage. It's 15 minutes before noon. I'm going to rise to the surface of the water. The captain pressed an electric bell 3 times. The pumps began to expel water from the ballast tanks. On the pressure gauge, a needle marked the decreasing pressures that indicated the Nautilus's upward progress. Then the needle stopped. "Here we are," the captain said. I made my way to the central companionway which led to the platform. I climbed its metal steps, passed through the open hatches, and arrived topside on the Nautilus. The platform emerged only 80 centimeters above the waves. The Nautilus's bow and stern boasted that spindle-shaped outline that had caused the ship to be compared appropriately to a long cigar. I noted the slight overlap of its sheet iron plates, which resembled the scales covering the bodies of our big land reptiles. So I had perfectly natural explanation for why, despite the spyglasses, this boat had always been mistaken for a marine animal. Near the middle of the platform, the skiff was half set in the ship's hull, making a slight bulge. Fore and aft stood two cupolas of moderate height, their sides slanting and partly inset with heavy biconvex glass, one reserved for the helmsman steering the Nautilus, the other for the brilliance of the powerful electric beacon lighting his way. The sea was magnificent, the skies clear. This long aquatic vehicle could barely feel the broad undulations of the ocean. A mild breeze out of the east rippled the surface of the water. Free of all mist, the horizon was ideal for taking sights. There was nothing to be seen. Not a reef, not an islet. No more Abraham Lincoln. A deserted immenseness. Raising his sextant, Captain Nemo took the altitude of the sun, which would give him his latitude. He waited for a few minutes until the orb touched the rim of the horizon. While he was taking his sights, he didn't move a muscle, and the instrument couldn't have been steadier if his hands were made out of marble. "Noon," he said. "Professor, whenever you're ready." I took one last look at the sea, a little yellowish near the landing places of Japan, and I went below again to the main lounge. There the captain fixed his position and used a chronometer to calculate his longitude, which he double-checked against his previous observations of hour angles. Then he told me, "Professor Aronnax, we're in longitude 137 degrees 15 west. West of which meridian?" I asked quickly, hoping the captain's reply might give me a clue to his nationality. "Sir," he answered me, "I have chronometers variously set to the meridians of Paris, Greenwich, and Washington, D.C., but in your honor, I'll use the one for Paris." This reply told me nothing. I bowed, and the commander went on. "We're in longitude 137 degrees 15 west of the meridian of Paris, and latitude 30 degrees 7 north. In other words, about 300 miles from the shores of Japan. At noon on this day of November 8th, we hereby begin our voyage of exploration under the waters." "May God be us." "May God be us," I said as an idiot. "No, may God be with us," I replied. "And now, Professor," the captain added, "I'll leave you to your intellectual pursuits. I've set our course east-northeast at a depth of 50 meters. Here are some large-scale charts on which you'll be able to follow that course. The lounge is at your disposal, and with your permission, I'll take my leave." Captain Nemo bowed. I was left to myself, lost in my thoughts. They all centered on the Nautilus's commander. Would I ever learn the nationality of this eccentric man who had boasted of having none? His sworn hate for humanity, a hate that perhaps was bent on some dreadful revenge. What had provoked it? Was he one of those unappreciated scholars, one of those geniuses embittered by the world, as Consul expressed it? A latter-day Galileo? Or maybe one of those men of science, like America's Commander Maury, whose careers were ruined by political revolutions? I couldn't say yet. As for me, whom fate had just brought aboard this vessel, whose life he had held in the balance, he had received me coolly, but hospitably. Only, he never took the hand I extended to him, and he never extended his own. For an entire hour, I was deep in these musings, trying to probe this mystery that fascinated me so. Then my eyes focused on a huge world map that was displayed on the table, and I put my finger on the very spot where our just determined longitude and latitude intersected. Like the continents, the sea has its rivers. These are exclusive currents that can be identified by their temperature and color, the most remarkable being the one called the Gulf Stream. Science has defined the global paths of 5 chief currents, one in the North Atlantic, a second in the South Atlantic, a third in the North Pacific, a fourth in the South Pacific, and a fifth in the Northern Indian Ocean. Also, it's likely that a sixth current used to exist in the northern Indian Ocean, when the Caspian and Aral seas joined up with certain large Asian lakes to form a huge uniform expanse of water. Now then, at the spot indicated on the world map, one of these sea-going rivers was rolling by, the Kuroshio of the Japanese, the Black Current. Heated by perpendicular rays from the tropical sun as it leaves the Bay of Bengal, it crosses the Strait of Malacca, goes up the shores of Asia, curves into the North Pacific as far as the Aleutian Islands, carrying along trunks of camphor trees and other local items, the pure indigo of its warm waters sharply contrasting the ocean's waves. It was this current that the Nautilus was about to cross. I watched it on the map with my eyes. I saw it lose itself in the immenseness of the Pacific, and I felt myself swept along with it, when Ned Land and Consul appeared in the lounge doorway. My two gallant companions stood petrified at the sight of the wonders on display. "Where are we?" the Canadian exclaimed. "In the Quebec Museum?" "Begging master's pardon," Consul answered, "but this seems more like the Samarad Artifacts exhibition." "My friends," I replied, signaling them to enter. "You're in neither Canada nor France, but securely aboard the Nautilus, 50 meters below sea level." "If you say so, then so be it," Consul answered. "But in all honesty, this lounge is enough to astonish even someone like myself." "Indulge your astonishment, my friend, and have a look, because there's plenty of work here for a classifier of your talents." Oh, that's a legit fact about Consul, by the way. He's the servant of the professor. He literally just follows the professor everywhere because he's really excited by science, and although he doesn't do any science, he just loves memorizing and classifying different sea creatures and plants, so he works perfectly with the professor. I'm just mixing up my coffee a little bit. Alright. Consul needed no encouraging. Bending over the glass cases, the gallant lad was already muttering choice words from a naturalist's vocabulary. Class Gastropoda, family I can't say Latin things. Bucaniota, genus Cowrie, species, blah blah blah, etc. Meanwhile, Ned Land, less dedicated to chronology, questioned me about my interview with Captain Nemo. Had I discovered who he was, where he came from, where he was heading, how deep he was taking us? In short, 1,000 questions I had no time to answer. I told him everything I knew, or rather everything I didn't know, and I asked him what he had seen or heard on his part. "Haven't seen or heard a thing," the Canadian replied. "I haven't even spotted the crew of this boat. By any chance, could they be electric too?" "Electric? Oh, ye gods, I'm half tempted to believe it. But back to you, Professor Aronnax," Ned Land said, still hanging on to his ideas. "Can't you tell me how many men are on board? 10, 20, 50, 100? "I'm unable to answer you, Mr. Land. And trust me on this. For the time being, get rid of those notions of taking over the Nautilus or escaping from it. This boat is a masterpiece of modern technology, and I'd be sorry to have missed it. Many people would welcome the circumstances that have been handed to us, just to walk amidst these wonders. So keep calm and let's see what's happening around us." "See," the harpooner exclaimed. "There's nothing to see, nothing we'll ever see from this sheet iron prison. We're simply running around blindfolded." Ned Land was just pronouncing these last words when we were suddenly plunged into darkness, utter darkness. The ceiling lights went out so quickly my eyes literally ached, just as if we'd experienced the opposite sensation of going from the deepest gloom to the brightest sunlight. We stood stock still, not knowing what surprise was waiting for us, whether pleasant or unpleasant. But a sliding sound became audible. You could tell that some panels were shifting over the Nautilus's sides. "It's the beginning of the end," Ned Land said. Order Hydromedusa, Council muttered, still classifying things. Suddenly, through two oblong openings, daylight appeared on both sides of the lounge. The liquid masses came into view, brightly lit by the ship's electric outpourings. We were separated from the sea by 2 panes of glass. Initially, I shuddered at the thought that these fragile partitions could break, but strong copper bands secured them, giving them nearly infinite resistance. The sea was clearly visible for a 1-mile radius around the Nautilus. What a sight! What pen could describe it? Who could portray the effects of this light through these translucent sheets of water, the subtlety of its progressive shadings into the ocean's upper and lower strata? The transparency of salt water has long been recognized. Its clarity is believed to exceed that of spring water. The mineral and organic substances it holds in suspension actually increase its translucency. In certain parts of the Caribbean Sea, you can see the sandy bottom with startling distinctness as deep as 145 meters down, and the penetrating power of the sun's rays seems to give out at only a depth of 300 meters. But this fluid setting traveled by the Nautilus. Our electric glow was being generated in the very heart of the waves. It was no longer illuminated water, it was liquid light. If we accept the hypothesis of the microbiologist Ehrenberg, who believes that these underwater depths are lit up by phosphorescent organisms, nature has certainly saved one of her most prodigious sights for the residents of the sea, and I could judge for myself from the thousandfold play of light. On both sides, I had windows opening over these unexplored depths. The darkness in the lounge enhanced the brightness outside, and we stared as if this clear glass were the window of an immense aquarium. The Nautilus seemed to be standing still. This was due to the lack of landmarks. But streaks of water, parted by the ship's spur, sometimes threaded before our eyes with extraordinary speed. In wonderment, we leaned on our elbows before these show windows, and our stunned silence remained unbroken until Consul said, in the mood to write a letter but no one to write to? Ah, you can write to me. Or, I'm pretty sure you can write to most people. Have you ever written one to Hannah at school? I only suggested myself because I have stamps and envelopes and everything, so I could. Anyways. You wanted to see something, Ned, my friend? Well, now you have something to see. How unusual, the Canadian put in, setting aside his tantrums and getaway schemes while submitting to this irresistible allure. A man would go an even greater distance just to stare at such a sight. Ugh, I exclaimed, I see our captain's way of life. He's found himself a separate world that saves its most astonishing wonders just for him. But where are the fish? The Canadian ventured to observe. I don't see any fish. Why would you care, Ned, my friend? Consul replied, since you have no knowledge of them. Me? A fisherman? Ned Land exclaimed. And on this subject a dispute arose between the two friends, since both were knowledgeable about fish, but from totally different standpoints. Hannah refuses to give me her school address. I'll just get it from her and I'll send it to you, number 1. Because that would be really funny. Number 2, we could be pen pals. That would be fun. I'll, when the stream's over, remind me and I'll send you my mailing address. I trust you with it. Everyone knows that fish make up the 4th and last class on the vertebrate branch. Yeah, everyone knows that. Who knows that? They have been quite aptly defined as cold-blooded vertebrates with a double circulatory system, breathing through gills and designed to live in water. They consist of 2 distinct series, the series of bony fish, in other words, those whose spines have vertebrae made of bone, and cartilaginous fish, in other words, those whose spines have a vertebrae made of cartilage. Damn, I really got confused by that one word. Possibly the Canadian was familiar with this distinction, but Consul knew far more about it, and since he and Ned were now fast friends, he just had to show off. So he told the harpooner, Ned, my friend, you're a slayer of fish, a highly skilled fisherman. You've caught a large number of these fascinating animals, but I'll bet you don't know how they're classified. Sure I do, the harpooner replied in all seriousness. They're classified into fish we eat and fish we don't eat. Spoken like a true glutton, Consul replied. But tell me, are you familiar with the differences between bony fish and cartilaginous fish? Just maybe, Consul. And how about the subdivisions of these 2 large classes? I haven't the foggiest notion, the Canadian replied. All right, listen and learn, Ned, my friend. Bony fish are subdivided into 6 orders. Primo, whose upper jaw is fully formed and free-moving and whose gills take the shape of a comb. This order consists of 15 families, in other words, 3/4 of all known fish. Example, the common perch. Pretty fair eating, Ned Land replied. Secundo, Consul went on, the abdominals, whose pelvic fins hang under the abdomen to the rear of the pectorals but aren't attached to the shoulder bone, an order that's divided into 5 families and makes up the great majority of freshwater fish. Examples: carp, pike. Ugh, the Canadian put in with distinct scorn. You can keep the freshwater fish. Tertio, Consul replied, whose pelvic fins are attached to the pectorals and hang directly from under the shoulder bone. This order contains 4 families. Examples: flatfish such as sole, turbot, dab, abril, etc. Excellent, really excellent, the harpooner exclaimed, interested in fish only from an edible viewpoint. Quarto, Consul went on, unabashed, whose long bodies that lack pelvic fins and are covered by heavy, often glutinous skin, an order consisting of only 1 family, common eels and electric eels. So-so, just so-so, Ned Land replied. Quinto, Consul replied, the Lophobrachians, which have fully formed, free-moving jaws, but whose gills consist of little tufts arranged in pairs among their gill arches. This order concludes only 1 family. Examples: seahorses and dragonfish. Bad, very bad, the harpooner replied. Sexto and last, Consul said, the military bone, whose military bone is firmly attached to the side of the intermaxillary that forms the jaw, and whose palate arch is locked into the skull by sutures that render the jaw immovable, an order lacking true pelvic fins, in which consists of 2 families, puffers and moonfish. They're an insult to a frying pan, the Canadian replied. Are you grasping all of this, Ned, my friend? Asked the scholarly Consul. Not a lick of it, Consul, my friend, the harpooner replied, but keep going, because you fill me with fascination. As for cartilaginous fish, Consul went on unflappably, they consist of only 3 orders. Good news, Ned put in. Prima, whose jaws are fused into a flexible ring and whose gill openings are simply a large number of holes, an order consisting of only 1 family, the lamprey. An acquired taste, Ned Land replied. Secundo, the Salacians, with gills resembling those of the cystosomes, but whose lower jaw is free-moving. This order, which is the most important in the class, consists of 2 families, the ray and the shark. What? Ned Land exclaimed. Rays and man-eaters in the same order? Well, Consul, my friend, on behalf of the rays, I wouldn't advise you to put them in the same fish tank. Tertio, Consul replied, whose gill opening is the usual single slit adorned with a gill cover, an order consisting of 4 genera. Example, the sturgeon. Ah, Consul, my friend, you saved the best for last, in my opinion anyhow. And that's all of them? Yes, my gallant Ned, Consul replied, and note well, even when one has grasped all of this, one still knows next to nothing, because these families are divided into genera, subgenera, species, varieties. All right, Consul, my friend, the harpooner said, leaning toward the glass panel. Here come a couple of your varieties now. Yes, fish, Consul exclaimed. One would think he was in front of an aquarium. No, I replied, because an aquarium is nothing more than a cage, and these fish are free as birds in the air. Well, Consul, my friend, identify them, start naming them, Ned Land exclaimed. Me? Consul replied. I'm unable to. That's my employer's ballywick. And in truth, although the fine lad was a classifying maniac, he was no naturalist, and I doubt he could tell a bonito from a tuna. What type of joke is that? In short, he was the exact opposite of the Canadian, who knew nothing about classification but could instantly put a name to any fish. A triggerfish, I said. It's a Chinese triggerfish, Ned Land replied. Assuredly, Ned and Consul in a combination added up to one outstanding naturalist. The Canadian was not mistaken. Cavorting around the Nautilus was a school of triggerfish with flat bodies, grainy skins armed with stings on their dorsal fins, and with 4 prickly rows of quills quivering on both sides of their tails. Nothing could have been more wonderful than the skin covering them, white underneath, gray above, with spots of gold sparkling in the dark eddies of the waves. Around them, rays were undulating like sheets flapping in the wind, and among these I spotted, much to my glee, a Chinese ray, yellowish on its top side, a dainty pink on its belly, armed with 3 stings behind its eyes, a rare species whose very existence was still doubted, since that pioneering classifier of fish had seen one only in a portfolio of Japanese drawings. For 2 hours, a whole aquatic army escorted the Nautilus. In the midst of their leaping and cavorting, while they competed with each other in beauty, radiance, and speed, I could distinguish some green wrasse, some mullet, white gobies from the genus Elotris, wonderful Japanese mackerel, glittering azure goldfish, whose name itself gives their full description, several varieties of porgy, some with horizontal heraldic bars and enhanced by a black strip around their caudal area, some with color zones and elegantly corseted in their 6 waistbands, trumpetfish with flute-like beaks that looked like genuine seafaring woodcocks and were sometimes a meter long, Japanese salamanders, serpentine moraine eels from the genus Echidna that were 6 feet long with sharp little eyes and a huge mouth bristling with teeth, etc. Our wonderment stayed at an all-time fever pitch. Our exclamations were endless. Ned identified the fish, Council classified them, and as for me, I was in ecstasy over the verve of their movements and the beauty of their forms. Never before had I been given the chance to glimpse these animals alive and at large in their native element. Given such a complete collection from the seas of Japan and China, I won't mention every variety that passed before our dazzled eyes. More numerous than birds in the air, these fish raced right up to us, no doubt attracted by the brilliant glow of our electric beacon. Suddenly, daylight appeared in the lounge. The sheet iron panels slid shut. The magical vision disappeared. But for a good while, I kept dreaming away, until the moment my eyes focused on the instruments hanging on the wall. The compass still showed our heading as east-northeast. The pressure gauge indicated a pressure of 5 atmospheres, corresponding to a depth of 50 meters, and the electric log gave our speed as 15 miles per hour. I waited for Captain Nemo, but he didn't appear. The clock marked the hour of 5. Ned Land and Council returned to their cabin. As for me, I repaired to my stateroom. There I found dinner ready for me. It consisted of turtle soup made from the daintiest hawksbill, a red mullet with white, slightly flaky flesh, whose liver, when separately prepared, makes delicious eating, plus loin of imperial anglefish, whose flavor struck me as even better than salmon. I spent the evening in reading, writing, and thinking. Then drowsiness overtook me. I stretched out on my eelgrass mattress, and I fell into deep slumber, while the Nautilus glided through the swiftly moving black current. Alrighty. That's all. That's all of it. All for tonight. That was chapter 14. Wowza. Let me pause this music and switch over to here. Here we go. And let me switch this screen over to my ending screen. Here we go. Hello. Thank you so much to everybody for chilling with me for 2 hours. I'm very excited to do my cheese stream. It is such a good book, Jesse. I want to be reading, like, I want to be streaming sometimes just because I want to read the book, and I'm not letting myself read it off stream. So, I have to wait until I'm reading. I hope that made any sense. I'm going to see if I can search. I don't really know how to read these tags, but is there any way for me to search by tags? I probably won't raid anybody tonight, simply because I only have like 3 viewers right now, unless it seems that there's someone who has like nobody watching them, you know? So let's see. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, bum, bum. A lot of people are doing Bible times always. Do, boo, boo. Alrighty. Okay. I have found... I'll message you about your mailing address now, or else I'll forget. Okay, you do that. You do that. We're going to... I just saw that somebody's playing Stardew Valley, who's under the reading aloud tag. So we can raid them, mayhaps. Let me just check one more time to make sure this is a good idea. I know I can't completely vet everybody, but... Okay, yeah, this seems to work for me. Okay. Okay. Sorry guys, you had to run out, but you're back in time for it to end. Perfect timing. I'm sorry. Well, hopefully I'll see you tomorrow when I'm doing, the cheese stream. But yeah, thank you everybody so much for coming. The cheese stream will be tomorrow. I will make sure to pick a time. My classes are over literally by like noon, so I have all of tomorrow to stream. I think it will probably end up being later, just because that would be a time where I feel like more people could tune in, because Monday most people have work or whatever. So let's set the time tentatively for now at being at 5 p.m. Okay? 5 p.m. sounds good to me. But yeah, thank you so much everybody for tuning in. I appreciate you. I hope you enjoyed hearing me read. That's all I did this stream, was read and chill. Thank you again to my mom for dropping in and saying that she would give books to the first 2 people to donate. And then thanks to Max and Jesse for actually doing that. And thank you to Ashlyn for resubscribing at tier 2. And to my mom for gifting a sub to Megan. So yeah, that's everything. And we will now raid someone named Heart Eyes. So yeah, streaming Stardew Valley. So cool. Alrighty. I'll see you guys later. Thank you so much for coming in. And I hope you enjoy Stardew Valley. Goodbye. I'm starting the raid now. Peace.